This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
Emery Sims had it all. Until temptation.
Wear something tight.
Got in the way.
You do this right, they'll pay you just to get rid of you.
Now, they are desires he can't control.
I want you to have dinner with me tonight.
Consequences he can't predict. And there are dangers he never imagined.
What'd you think, Emery? That I would just go away?
Hey, baby. What happened? Did you forget something?
I love you.
As of right now, you are out of my life. You never existed.
You said you needed me.
Just stop doing things that you're gonna have to be sorry for later.
Behind suspicion.
Baby, what are you doing?
Why don't you ask your little girlfriend?
Behind deception.
I want you to stop!
Behind temptation.
Do you understand that I have a hell of a lot to lose?
Lies motive.
I think it's time we were women about this.
Shemar Moore, Vivica A, and Golden Brooks.
If you ever come near me or my wife again, you are dead.
Motives.
This is deep. It's way deeper than anything I told you before.
Betrayal. Revenge.
You wanted to play hardball. Welcome to the game.
Emery Sims was found dead earlier today.
I don't want to be a part of whatever game you're playing.
Brian White and Vivica A. Fox. Motives 2. Retribution on DVD.
It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show.
Welcome back to yet another solo review. I love finding all these obscure movies you might have seen at the video store. They're now, of course, easier to find. You can get them on iTunes, Amazon, Tubi, Shudder, and just Screambox and more recent stuff like Paramount. It's always interesting what stuff floats around. It makes you wonder how even any of the movie channels are going to stay in business because there's so much competition. But let us not worry about that. Let us worry about the Rainforest produced, Sony distributed Motives and Motives 2. I knew about these because, even though they were labeled as erotic thrillers, starring Rudy from The Cosby Show, Sean Blakemore, who's been a big bad on all kinds of stuff, including General Hospital and various other hood movies. I mainly, again, I love me some Vivica A. Fox. She's a badass and still a talented actress despite appearing in just such bizarre movies. She's like Eric Roberts. She will up the game, make everyone play ball. And she's still a very unique individual who I've never heard a bad thing about. That's the other thing too. People assume because you're doing lesser or lowbrow type stuff, you must not be that great of a person or actor. And it's like, no, she had it going on and she just blended in and started doing some different things. But yeah, probably why other people check these movies out is just their leads. It's a neo-noir kind of thriller. And who doesn't love a good Big Sleep, LA Confidential type excuse for narration, Chinatown, all that jazz. It's fun. It's a good excuse also for, half the time these movies often come off as erotic softcore thrillers mixed in with cops and robbers type action. Not the case here so much. These are very twisted movies with very solid acting, well directed by Craig Ross Jr., who has again just been one of those other B-movie guys from Boston who did other independent movies such as Full Moon Entertainment's Killjoy, the gangster film Blue Hill Avenue starring Alan Payne from New Jack City, as well as just various episodes of Bones. And I love his very taut style. He reminds me of Keanu Waxman and some of these other guys who made a killing doing B pictures. That Tony Giglio's another one. Again, these guys are just as talented as someone who, or Raul Reigns, another one, as someone who's doing a big budget or low budget movie. But most of the time these movies just, whether it was they were never intended to be theatrical or they just thought they'd make a better profit, they just went straight to TV or video stores. But that doesn't mean they're bad. But like you say, because the market was so oversaturated with just garbage, it wasn't likely that everyone was going to give this the time of day. But now again, this is mainly made for a black demographic, but do not get me wrong at all. Like, it is not in any way, shape, or form amateur hour. It's still competently lit, suspenseful. And the sequel starred Brian White, who you might know from various Tyler Perry movies. I personally love him as Tavon, the good cop on the crooked cop show The Shield. But movie one, let's be honest, we're getting into it because it stars, Shemar Moore, SWAT and Criminal Minds fame. He had been on The Young and the Restless by this time, but also he was just, on Birds of Prey as well, the DC superhero show. But he had already done a few other thriller movies. I personally loved Butter, also known as Never Too Big, which was again a corporate executive murder mystery mixed in with a fugitive action movie. And so again, he cuts the mustard in terms of being a solid actor who's just ready to, again, just be a likable guy and be very involving. No exception here, just such a likable motherfucker, just a cool dude. And I'm glad he was able to just make his start doing something like this. And again, if I'm going to do a top 10 list of his movies and shows, this is going to go on there. It's solid and nothing to it other than just a very straightforward kind of movie. And except that's just it. The plot twists are not straightforward. And in all fairness, like, he is, again, just there's so many plot twists, it would probably make the usual suspects jealous. Now I kid there, but it's very twisted. And the rest of the cast was solid. One of the Torrey brothers, Joe, was in here. Golden Brooks was really likable as the love triangle. You might know her from various other movies like Beauty Shop. So she's been in some chick flicks, as well as just Showtime films and other Canadian productions. But yeah, Vivica was awesome here. And you feel the tension, you feel the atmosphere, you are very involved from frame one. There's some decent R&B and rap music thrown throughout, but it is not intrusive, and the movie does not show any of its budget. Movie two, I would dare say, was even more just engaging, edgy. Now, as for eroticism, there's some partial sexuality, but never to the point of where you're just like, yeah, this is Skinamax hour. Like, it'll go for that crowd, but it is not by any means softcore porn. It's just, it's easy to label it that way because you could still equate it as much as, say, to a Night of the Hunter kind of movie with the psycho thriller emphasis as you could, say, a Basic Instinct movie. Yes, I realize I'm mentioning noirs from different periods, but again, this is a neo-noir movie. Rod Hardy, who has also worked on Shemar's show, Criminal Minds, as well as shows like Battlestar Galactica, was one of the producers on this, and it's definitely, it's just so engaging. I can't say enough about that. And Motives 2 was also interesting because, again, Vivica returned, and unlike her other franchises like Sharknado or True to the Game, I dig this franchise. Just both movies stand out in their own way. You would have seen them in a theater. I would have loved to have seen them in a theater. It would have been engaging. It would have been a mega hit. It might have not been liked by critics, but if you're looking for other just noirish movies featuring thugs and detectives and just promiscuous people and just not even relying on narration, but I mean, just everything is suspenseful the way they're framed. The minute all these people walk into these mansions or are having a bite to eat at dinner, like, you just know there's trouble around the corner and you look forward to it. And that is more than I can say about so many other movies, which just piss it the fuck away. You know, this is not to the point where you're like, oh no, there's no overdramatic soapy stuff. There's no excuses for people to get butt-ass naked with, zero emphasis on anything else. It's not anything like that. It's very thrilling, and the plot twists are very well laid out. I rewatched the first movie today just to prep for this review, and it still took me back. I still had to really try extra hard to figure it out. Which is not what I can say. Most of the time when these independent or made-for-TV or video movies have some head scratchers, it's because they're just, again, schlockily made or a half-assed script, which is very clearly not ready. Someone wasn't giving enough notes saying, hey, by the way, this shit makes sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to the rest of us. Not that thing. It's not a Samurai Cop or The Room type shit fest. You know who you are. It's not that kind of movie. I promise you. Music's really good. Again, as mentioned before, like the main score, I don't know who did it, but it was very suspenseful. And apparently Rainforest Films, who produced this, has worked on plenty of other material, just all kinds of African-American themed films, from something like The Gospel to Stomp the Yard. But yeah, this was just some of their movies that they did, along with Vivica Fox's other movies. Two Can Play That Game. They did a direct-to-video sequel to that, as well as the other legit softcore thrillers that are both what feel like an Adrian Lyne movie made for the black audience, but actually intelligent, mixed in with some softcore sex scenes. So that is as sexy as they so-called got. But they produced other movies like Takers, which is awesome, Think Like a Man, which is good for what it is, but not my cup of tea, and garbage like The First Ride Along. So they've done all kinds of movies. I applaud them for their efforts. This, I would, much like I would rank this as some of the actors' best movies. I would definitely put at least part one is one of Vivica's best movies. And, she's had hits like Independence Day and Set It Off, as well as her sitcoms. But yeah, no, like, if I'm going to do a Shemar Moore movie in shows list, I'm going to list his two crime shows, and then this one, and then some other comedies and mystery films he's done. So again, take away any pre-notions or prejudices, check these fucking movies out. Movie 2 I have not talked enough about, but it wasn't just acceptable. Like, it went in a cool way. It just, it seemed like for a while it was Charles Band's Full Moon and Roger that kind of made direct-to-video kind of fun as well as infamous. So it's cool to see some of these other production companies, and definitely one of the better Sony produced movies. It was through their Columbia TriStar label, but again, it's Sony, and I applaud them for it because, again, for a while it seemed like people were, struggling to come up with material that was interesting or well thought out. And again, just when you see that much effort being put into it, you're set for life. You buy what's being sold. And I just applaud anybody who can do just wonders with their budget, not show it, and focus on the mood and tone. There's so many people who are out there who want to do a cool movie, but just don't know how to make use of their time, or the has-been actors are misbehaving, or other shit just falls flat and it just looks awful. So these are very awesome movies, and I would classify them more as mildly action, mainly mystery, some romance for the gals and guys, but mainly neo-noir thrillers. And call them what you want, guys. They're not garbage. Not even. And I would have loved to have seen them play at a festival or anywhere else. So check them out. They're often on a channel like Bounce or BET, but if you see them on Amazon or on the DVD shelf, go for it. They're even well reviewed by some of the professional critics who review all kinds of home media releases. So there you go.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small-town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up